So we are going to have a yin class today. Yin yoga is a much more slower pace if you haven't done one before. The whole point of this is that we are allowing ourselves to stay in the same posture for extended length of time so that we can get into the deeper layers of connective tissue. And the fascia system and all those connective layers, this is where our emotions are stored. This is, you can actually, when you're working it with fascial work or you're working in a yin yoga, it's quite common to have emotional releases during. And this is because we hold emotions in our system. So we are going to work with the limbic system today, and this is to allow ourselves to move ourselves from that sympathetic nervous system, which is that fight or flight, and coming into a parasympathetic nervous state, which is where we come into a more relaxed state. This is where healing occurs. This is where surrendering into our body. This is where we want to be. So saying that, we only need a few props, and it's depending on yourself. You're welcome to use more. So I'm just going to use 2 blocks and I have a strap. The other thing with yin yoga, when you come into a posture, we want to try to stay there for extended length of time. So we want to try not to readjust, but if you are very uncomfortable, please do so. But there is a point in a pose where we go from feeling comfortable, and then you'll have almost like an urge to move out of that posture. This is where we want to stay in that posture a little bit long, do a little bit of breathing, seeing if you can move past that stage, because that when we can sit with that discomfort for a little bit, we're actually, that's that threshold between our muscular system and that deep connective system. So we really want to try to move past that threshold into the more deep connective work. But listen to your body. So we are going to start in dragon's pose. So the names for the yin postures are a little bit different than regular yoga. So dragon is lizard. So we will start with the right leg forward. And we don't want to go full length into this posture. So if you can go all the way down to the ground and you're comfortable there for 30 seconds or so, that's great, but we're going to be here for a couple minutes. So come out slightly to a point where you feel like you can hold for an extended period of time. So as we're here, we're going to close our eyes and begin to tune into our body, noticing how this feels. Where are we holding any tension? And with yin yoga, I will be pairing an affirmation with a posture. And with the affirmation, it's not so much you're not trying to repeat it to yourself so that you believe it. What we want to do is we want to repeat these affirmations without any expectation, and just notice how it feels in your body when you say them. So the first affirmation for this posture is, I am flowing with creativity. So just repeat that in your head a couple times. If it doesn't provoke any sensations, then that's probably something that you feel confident about. But if something comes up, an affirmation that your body maybe resists a little bit or your mind resists a little bit, that's something that we can look at a little bit deeper. Not during your practice, but afterwards when you're journaling. be here for a few more moments, so just continue to sit with the breath. Slowly we're going to straighten that leg, moving it so that's behind us. We'll take a quick child's pose, taking a breath here. And then coming out to cobra, whether you're using blocks or we just want to come into that opposite position. And then we'll come to the other side, so bringing that left foot forward. Dropping down into this posture. Tuning into how this side feels. One of the most important reasons why we want to find space to create the ability to drop into that parasympathetic nervous state, because we want to give our bodies and our vagus nerve the ability to rest, because when we've come from a traumatic background or we are dealing with some mental health issues, we are constantly, our body is in a constant state of alert. And when we're in a constant state of alert, our body begins to lose its ability to differentiate between what is safe and what isn't, because we are always on a state of looking out for the next threat. So practices like yin yoga and restorative yoga, where we slow down our bodies and focus on that breath connection, really help to facilitate this. So once again, the affirmation, I am flowing with creativity. I am flowing with creativity. I am flowing with creativity. One more inhale here. Exhale, slowly extending that leg out. And then coming to child's. Taking an inhale in child's. Exhaling, rolling forward to cobra. Extending the legs long. And then we'll come back up to a neutral spine. We're going to come into our pigeon. So you can use blocks here if you need to, but we'll bring that right leg up behind the right wrist. And it's depending on your availability in your hips and your knees. You might have that forward leg parallel to the short edge of the mat. That will be pretty intense in the hips, or you can have it on a bit of an angle, being more supportive. So really picking something that's right for you. If you find you're rolling over onto that right hip, take one of the blocks, place it down there underneath that hip area, and then we'll come down onto our arms or our hands into a resting pigeon. Be here for a few moments. So our affirmation for this posture is, I am open and receptive to pleasure. I am open and receptive to pleasure. I am open and receptive to pleasure. find your mind begins to wander away, use your affirmation, bringing it back into the moment. If you find that there's some sensations that are maybe getting a little bit more noticeable, just try to breathe with it. See if you can create a little bit of space from it. See if we can pass that threshold into the deep connective layers. And if not, if it becomes too much, that's completely okay. Our body is gardening us for reasons. Sometimes it's just not the time to go into that next layer. We never want to force anything, whether that be awareness of memories or forcing a posture, relationships. When we're creating a sense of force, we're being counterproductive to what we're trying to establish here, which is a connection between our minds and our bodies and our spirits. Be here for, let's do 5 more breaths here. And when you're finished, you can slowly bring your hands up, pushing your body into neutral, coming off the block if you were on one, and then unwinding your legs. Just bring them out in front of you for a moment, just get a bit of blood flow before we come into the next one. You might find when you're working with yin too that when you come out of a posture, there'll be a sense of almost weakness in the muscles. This is called the rebound effect. And it's quite normal because we are getting into the deeper layers. So just be very gentle and mindful of the movement that you take afterwards. It shouldn't be any pain though. And we're going to come to the other side. So left leg, left knee behind left wrist, taking your variation of your pigeon. You can put that block under that hip to stop it from rolling over. And then coming down into your full posture. Once again, the affirmation for this posture is, I am open and receptive to pleasure. I am open and receptive to pleasure. I am open and receptive to pleasure. Another thing you can try if your mind is busy is doing a body scan. So starting at the top of your body, moving that awareness downwards, bringing to attention any areas that have a little bit more sensation than others. Not to create stories, not to understand what's happening in our bodies, just complete awareness. Take 5 more breaths here. Excuse me. Ready, slowly pushing yourself up, untucking the toes, bring the knees around, legs straight in front of us. Just take a moment here, get a little bit of movement, a little bit more blood flow into the legs. We're going to come into a wide-legged, half wide. So left leg out, toes up to the ceiling. We'll have the right leg into the inner thigh. And we can have the block here to place our left forearm on top, and inhaling the right arm over top. So this is a bit more of an active yin pose. So we won't be here quite as long as the last ones, but just allowing this opening to happen in that outer edge of our body. So the affirmation for this posture is, I honor my sexuality. I honor my sexuality. I honor my sexuality. Once again, just being mindful of how each affirmation makes you feel. We're not trying to believe these. If you believe it naturally, then, like I said before, then that's something that you're good with. And the ones that maybe feel a little bit more sticky, a little bit more hard to swallow, these are the areas that we can focus our healing on. Take 5 more breaths here. And coming up to a neutral spine. Just take your knees out in front of you. A little hug, just let the spine kind of neutralize, relax before we come to the other side. Once you feel ready, you can extend that right leg long, left foot into the thigh. Bring that block on the inside of that right leg. Forearm on that block, palm up towards the sky, and the left arm over top. Once again, the affirmation for this posture is, I honor my sexuality. I honor my sexuality. I honor my sexuality. Take 5 more breaths here. Slowly can bring back up to a neutral spine. Bring your knees up to the sky again, leaning forward, creating a little bit of traction in the spine. And we're going to come into our next one, which is our cobbler. So this is the soles of the feet are together. You don't need to have them super close to you. That's a pretty aggressive variation. So just allow yourself to find a little bit of comfort here. If your knees are give you any problems, you can use the blocks or pillows to support them. And then you can either stay upright, holding onto your ankles, shoulders away from your ears, nice long spine here. Or you can fold down, coming into a folded cobbler position. Finding your variation, we are going to be here for a couple minutes. So find a spot that you can relax into. The affirmation for this posture is, I acknowledge and honor the shadows in me. I acknowledge and honor the shadows in me. I acknowledge and honor the shadows in me. You may feel like at some point there's a little bit of a release that happens, which maybe lets you come a little bit deeper into the posture. So just continuing to keep the lines of communications open between your mind and your body. Allowing that polarity of this chakra really unwind as our body unwinds. So as we find a little bit more ease into a posture, does it change the breath? Does it change different muscles? Do they begin to react a little bit differently? Take 5 more breaths here. When you're ready, slowly come back up to neutral spine. Your knees in slightly into the center, giving them a hug, extending your spine up, traction away from each other. And then you can put the blocks away. Just grab onto your strap. And coming onto our backs, we're coming into our final posture before Shavasana. So we're going to come into a supported happy baby. So we're going to wrap the strap around the balls of both feet, hanging onto the strap, pulling the knees out towards the ribs. So you will have a little bit of tension in your arms here, but try to find just a little bit of ease in our lower body as we sit. The affirmation for this posture is, I am open to opportunities that excite me. I am open to opportunities that excite me. I am open to opportunities that excite me. And if you feel as we're laying here with our legs up that you get a little bit of shaking in your legs, it's completely okay. This is what happens when we create change within our bodies. Our cells begin to react, begin communicating with us, and shaking is a very good indicator that there's change occurring. Because when the sacral chakra is blocked, we are limiting our ability to move our life force energy, which is from our root chakra. We aren't able to move it upwards throughout the rest of our body. So it becomes stuck down in that root chakra, and the sacral chakra doesn't move anything. So there's a lot of stagnant energy that can become trapped in this chakra, which just makes these kind of practices so much more important. I'm going to take 5 more breaths here. Slowly bring your feet back down to the ground, taking the strap off. Extend your legs out long. Take any time you need to put on a sweater or socks, grab a blanket, allow yourself to find the most restful posture that you can create for your Shavasana, so that you can just surrender into the moment, surrender into being, which is all what this chakra is about. It's about just being here, being present in whatever form that takes in your life right now. So tuning into your body, to your breath, noticing how you feel after your practice. Come back into the present moment, or you can pause this video and continue your Shavasana if you prefer. Otherwise, just bring awareness back into your fingers and toes. Allow the movement to grow. And on your own time, finding your way over onto your favorite side. Taking a moment here, bringing something that you're grateful for into your mind. We always do this so that we're creating this high vibration, so that we can, as we process and move through old stuff, and we create space, we really want to fill that space up with positivity. And gratitude is one of the highest forms of high vibration, so this is why we practice gratitude. When you're ready, you can push yourself up to a seated posture to close your practice. And as always, if you'd like to join me with an Om, please do so. Otherwise, just listen. So inhale, exhale, inhale, Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful practice and reach out if you need anything. Thank you.